Hello everyone, and today's episode, which is episode 4 of Talk Kok Sing Song. Now, well, today we have a very special guest, but before we talk a little bit about that, thank you all for joining us. My guest today, actually, he is none other than Dr. Tony Makarome, and he was actually one of my teachers in Yongsu Conservatory of Music back when I was a student, and I actually handled that. So hi! So presenting
Hello.
Dr. Tony Makarome. Hi, can you tell us just a little bit about yourself before we start?
I started playing classic rock when I was a teenager. I can't read music. I was playing Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, things like that. And then typical rock musician guys in the band always get into arguments about what an eighth note is, what a quarter note is, because we try to one up each other.
Yeah.
And then at some point I thought, well, in order to win the argument, I have to go study music. So that's how it started. So that's why it was only to win an argument, and I accidentally started this journey. I started studying music at age 25.
25, right? So
I don't know. So I've managed to con a lot of people over the years. So finally, the secret's out over the internet. That's how I started studying music. I'm still working to be a musician right now.
Jazz and Indian music. How did you actually get that?
You have to think of them as separate things. Kind of like if you live in Singapore, it's very natural to like nasi padang and also Chinese porridge, the zup. So you don't think of them together. You just think of them as different trips to the hawker center, or if you are really...
Okay, Dr. Tony, let's not banter, man. Let's hear you play a little bit. You'll be playing redundant for us. Compulsory to ask us questions, alright? As what? At DYL...
Yeah, otherwise KokJun will have to keep asking me dumb questions all night.
Wow!
I messed up the beginning of that. So sorry, Akhilesh, if you're listening to this, I screwed up the first phrase.
Only Akhilesh will know that.
Yeah, it's the intro to the Jewel of Srivijaya, which I composed.
Viewers, he asked, what is your most favorite music opening?
And sometimes the introduction to the opening of a song will define the whole song. Like I don't know if you know a Beatles song, Hard Day's Night. It's just one chord on the guitar, and that's how that song starts. Or the intro to Let It Be, by the Beatles, famous piano intro. So what's my favorite? That's the difficult part. Yeah, different days, different things. Yeah, I mean, today. Let It Be was always a long time favorite.
Oh yeah.
Maybe the beginning of Beethoven 9.
Sure.
Yeah, where the strings are doing. Or even something from Mussorgsky, Pictures of the Exhibition.
Yes, the trumpet solo. Yeah. That's great. Because you wrote for the Singapore Symphony Orchestra, and this is actually mridangam is an instrument that is taught through oral tradition. So how did you actually get over the challenge of actually writing for this instrument? Was there a notation that you had to come up with, or you just told Akhilesh tapi dinadom and then he played?
So they commissioned me to write a piece that has an Indian flavor to it.
Sure.
And they asked me a question, can you write in Indian traditional notation? And I said yes, knowing full well that there really isn't Indian traditional notation. But I figured that I needed to find to find a common ground for communication. And really, music is music. Even Indian music, it comes in regular cycles. So this piece was the Jewel of Srivijaya was written in a 4/4 time. So they call it Ekatala in Carnatic music. It's really just it's just 4/4 time. And what I did was there's two ways to do it. One, the true sort of flavor and interest in Indian music is that the phrases start to take on little chunks of almost mathematical proportions where it seems like it goes off of the downbeat.
Okay.
So there's two choices. As a composer, it's very, for instance, if I was a composer that didn't have any Indian music background, I would transcribe the rhythms like 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5. That's actually just 12. So you could do that in 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3. But if you were just listening, if you were doing research as a listener, you would think it's 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 1 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2. So you would end up writing it like that, and it sounds very jerky. But the Indian musicians don't actually think that way. They think in 4/4 time with phrasing across the bar. So I wrote it in 4/4 time. The whole piece is in 4/4, and it's phrasing across the bar. That way, it's easier to communicate. As a composer, the danger is not that they cannot play it. The danger is that when they stop in the middle of rehearsal, how are you going to start, right?
I see.
So for an Indian musician, it's easy to say, okay, start 3 subdivisions after the clap. But you cannot say start on the 3/8 bar because they're like, where is that? Then you have to translate back to 4/4 time.
Reads, right?
Akhilesh reads, but basically this was done. I sent a series of recordings where I did takom 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 takom. So if I was, when I did the intro for them, is tatom tatom tatom. That's what I played earlier. So I sent them these recordings. See, unbeknownst to SSO, I kind of secretly prepared them before the first rehearsal, which is why from the first rehearsal, Akhilesh has memorized the piece. Because a Carnatic musician can memorize it this way, but when you have it written down and you're used to just reading it off the page, you have a tendency of not memorizing it.
So hang on.
Yeah, gonna call. So I did ta ti ta tum kira ta tari kita. So ta ti ta tum kira ta tari kita. So the mridangam has different syllables. So when you're learning the konokol, the spoken percussion syllables come from the mridangam. So this is called nam, this is called din, and this is called din. And then tari kita sounds like this. So that's tari kita. Kira ta tari kita sounds like that. Tari kuku tari kita. So so if you're a beginner student, the teacher will make you recite it and then play it. Then when you get slightly better, he will recite it and then show you the fingerings, how to play it and stuff like that. Then as you get better, the teacher's expected not to translate for you. He'll just play it.
Okay.
So he'll play like, he's supposed to be able to figure out what he actually played as di tang kira tigu takatari kita di na tang kira tigu takatari kita. So you're supposed to listen and then it translates. After all, it's true. It's like the old cliche about music being like a language. It really is a lot. After you hear this, you can start to figure out what fingerings he's using, and it's also translating across to Western music where you hear rhythms. And then you automatically translate it into syllables. Yeah, I think that's inherent in everybody. When you hear something, you start to feel it. That's why people can do call and response, because you hear tum ta, and then somebody knows what that is. For the beginning, I should do this one thing, because the Mora part of the jewel of Srivijaya is actually an original thing I did. So I took a Carnatic idea and turned it around on his head. Like the original rhythm would have been takiradum ta takiradum ta takiradum. So that is in 3 takiradum ta takiradum ta takiradum, which is 12. Or when you were a student, tajum takajum takitajum. But everything's on the beat. Tajum takajum takitajum. So I thought, okay, if I did that, the SSO would go, Indian music sounds kind of square. So I flipped it around, did the 5 first, and I went backwards. So taki tajum, takajum, tajum, taki tajum, takajum, tajum. So everything comes off the beat.
I see.
Anyway, that might be, so. Anyway, it's a long section, but taki kina dum taka dimi takita tatka mimi takita takita, and then there's an 8 subdivision after that.
Sounds good.
And when Akhilesh was learning it, he was like saying, "Sir, this is a bit confusing." Oh, I'm actually a tech in the building.
Sure.
I fix the air conditioning and stuff. I move instruments. Yeah. Anyway, incoming student. He's trying to figure out what classes not to take. Actually. Yeah. I teach an elective in rhythm, and I teach an elective in harmonic hearing, where you listen to chord progressions and try to figure them out, which is very important skill to have for listening to regular music. It's good to have the habit of hearing harmony as it goes by. Yeah, I teach a jazz module as well. So far, that's it. I might have some new duties next year, but I don't know what they are yet at this point. So.
And we have a question from Instagram earlier, and this person actually asked seemingly simple question, which I think can lead to more. He actually asked, with the many types of music you play, how do you count? So I was actually confused by this question because, well, how do you count? Actually, there are many ways to count, right?
Yeah. So, no, I mean, there's many ways to count, let's say subdivisions and stuff like that. But the basic thing is knowing where you are in the music. That's Western style, Western, Eastern, rock, jazz, Indian, Chinese, whatever. It's all the same. There's a starting point. People stay together. You have to know where you are in the beat exactly. You cannot just play a melody and then hope that you end up in the same place with everybody else. So I'm feeling. In fact, the study of Indian music has solidified my feeling for Western time. There's if you know what I mean, I'll describe it this way. When I was a rocker, I would know that after 4 bars something's gonna happen. So I'm going to 2, 3, 4, boom. As long as I boom on the next downbeat, I'm okay. A good rocker, of course, has control. A good musician has control of all this. But when you're not a good musician, when I was starting out, and you just have to sort of feel where things are coming next. So you can either sing the melody of the song and you feel, okay, I'm gonna have to be here, or I'm gonna get lost. But what happens is, as you develop as a musician, you start to feel things going by at a certain place. So even though you are not counting that place, you are feeling that place go by visually or audioly, or however you feel it. Indian music has a tool that helps you a lot. I'm sure in Western music it's the same, like the conducting pattern. It's just I was never taught to visualize it that way, but that's also one way of doing it. The Indian musician counts by their fingers, so you can actually visualize this. And jazz musicians, rock musicians, we all count the same way. Like if you're in 4/4 time, you're feeling where the one is, and you know, so you know where to put the accent, and you know where to play the syncopations, things like that. You know?
Yeah.
So
that is
So it's all at some place. There's a natural musician in us that can count and feel the beat. It's when the music gets a little bit more complicated, we get thrown off. And that's when you look around and see where other people's hands are, and then you try to clap with them. But if you're gonna train yourself as a musician, you need to be able to proactively control your mind at the same time. So that's really the main training. Control your mind at the same time, so that your mind can help you hear or feel the rhythm ahead of time.
Oh, that is a loaded question and an even more loaded answer. Where do your students get to practice all those drills from class?
Okay, there is a joke that I tell the students, but it's 90% serious, which is there's a lot of time in the day where you have downtime. For instance, you're sitting at the bus stop waiting for the bus to come, or you're walking to school, or I don't know, standing in line to get food or whatever. Nowadays it's a different story, but so your mind is constantly thinking, feeling bored. So that's the best time to practice, is you can run exercises in your head. In fact, a lot of ear training, even exercises, like if you want to hear major thirds and how to spell chords, it's good to sing it in your mind to yourself, because there's an inner ear we need to train in terms of melodies, and also rhythm-wise. Yeah, you can just count while you're there. And then I used to make the joke that you can practice on the bus on the way to school, and what that does is people think you're in some kind of cult when you're sitting there. So they will clear the seats for you as well. You can put your bag in your instruments.
It's not so hard now. You don't need to do that. You can just cough nowadays. How do you think music education can be improved in Singapore?
The best way to teach music is in person, one-on-one. It's
Sure.
not practical because when you're at, let's say, conservatory or at a music school, there's the how do you say that? There's the it's not economical to teach one-on-one for like 80 students, and the time is a problem. So that would be the ideal. So the way it can be improved is if you can simulate that situation. So a lot of activities where you can interact with the students while the class is going on. That's a trick that teachers have to figure out. I'm talking about specifically music, right? Because when you teach history or economics, is a totally different thing. And also the being live with the person allows you to react to their responses. And sometimes as a teacher, the students really don't know what to ask most of the time. They just know that they can't do certain things, but they don't really know how to ask the question. And as a teacher, your real duty is actually to figure out how you can help them without just giving them a list of things that they need to do at home. In fact, if you can catch people at a certain moment and fix them. So a lot of times in the middle of the class when I encounter a student, I don't know if you remember this during our days, but when I encounter a student with a problem, I get really excited. I try to fix them on the spot. And I mean, without saying that I'm going to fix you on the spot, because then you put pressure on them. But basically, I try to work through a student. Everybody else thinks that I'm doing this to help everybody else, but it's mostly like if I can encounter a moment where the student needs to, it's kind of like if you teach somebody how to ride a bike, it's that moment when you let your hands off the bicycle when they feel like you're holding on, but then you kind of halfway let go. That's the moment. You need to recognize the moment and take advantage of it. So that's how you can improve it, is to find teachers or even dedicate yourself to be that kind of teacher where you try to feel your students out that way.
All right, that is such a
there's a lot of technology. I mean, and most people will go with the technology and stuff like that, but for me,
the human touch.
The music, it's really there's really a mentoring aspect of it that you can't do through technology. Like for instance, if a student was a let's say a wobbling hoop, a wheel or a hoop, and you're trying to roll it on the ground, when it starts to wobble, you have to start to roll it more. You can't just wait till it completely falls over. But so the internet version of that would be there would be a video of somebody rolling a hoop and it rolls on forever, but it doesn't actually happen in real life. In real life, you have to start to speed it up when it starts to wobble. So that's the tricky part. Anyway, I don't know if I actually answered his question. It's difficult.
It's difficult, but there's one easy one. The actual question is, what triggered you to learn Indian music?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I started when I was 40. So.
But you're only 18 now. But how does that work out?
You say 80? Yeah. You don't look like that at all. And what blew my mind as a kid was watching Indian Bharatanatyam on TV, this dancing, and then at some point they do these jatis, which is the Konakol stuff, and you see them dancing around and reciting, and then the footwork goes along with the recitation. Wow. So that got me excited about it. Yeah. So that was always in the back of my mind. And when I studied in America, the opportunity never came up to study because they had basically American teachers who taught it, and then there were more musicologists than actual musicians. In that sense, they were musicians in, let's say, jazz or whatever, but when it comes to Indian music, they were more like a musicologist or a student of Indian music. So you basically get a superficial surface of that without the understanding. Now, when I came back to Singapore, that was still in the back of my head. And I'm going to give a plug for Kelly Tang. So one day I was hanging out with Kelly Tang and he said, my son is studying Mridangam. You should study with his teacher. I'm like, oh, okay. So that's how I started.
I see.
Yeah. So
you're learning
once again, somebody forced me to. I'm learning at the Singapore Indian Fine Arts Society.
Yeah.
CFAS under Guru Srikant. He's the Mridangam teacher there. He's very good. He also recently started teaching what he calls Tala, which is how to count time cycles. So if you don't want to learn the Mridangam, and you just want to learn how to count time cycles.
Last question, all right? Outside of music, what are your other pleasures? I think that's what he wrote. Okay. No, you better behave yourself.
But yeah, there's something about Gildan that when you ask a question like that, it sounds more naughty than it is.
Yeah, man. I know, right?
I've just lost a lot of fans. I play golf. I'm a typical old man. I play chess as well. So golf, chess. I read books. Yeah. I still read books.
I do as well.
And that's it. I mean, going for walks. I don't know if that's a boring thing, but yeah,
Wait, I heard that you're a martial artist also?
Oh no, when I was younger, I studied Wing Chun, but that was when I was younger.
Wing Chun, before you was cool.
I was more into breakdancing when I was in my early 20s. Yeah, I did that more. So the parkour was kind of like the new breakdancing. Yeah, but I was already quite old when I tried to do parkour. So after a while,
you better don't start, man. I'm going to extend this session by an hour, and you're going to show us everything.
Oh no! One of my friends got injured, and I just thought, okay, better not do that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And anyway, it's been such a great pleasure talking to you today. The questions were just flying in, and you were so game to everything. I feel like I'm back in your classroom learning from you again.
Yeah, I actually remember a lot of our conversations. Stuff about new music and music like, is it okay to like regular music?
Oh wow, yeah. We had that conversation when I was in year 1, and of course our conversations kind of extended beyond that, huh? And I can't believe
I just want to tell your audience, it doesn't matter what kind of music you like. There's a lot of scope where you can do anything. You can do world music, you can do jazz, you can do pop, you can do getai, no problems, or classical music. It's more kind of like the music is the vehicle that you can connect with something spiritual. So you will, if you enjoy it and open yourself to it, you will find a lot of rewards just from being involved in music. So if you feel like, oh, I'm starting at a later age, or I have no talent or whatever, just do it for fun. Find people that aren't gonna hate working with you. And find some friends.
You're the perfect example of that. I mean, come on. 25 years old, and then you have learned all sorts of things just because you are interested in them. I think the takeaway is that if you want to try something, just try it. There's no harm, right?
Okay, honestly, when I was 25, I was a little bit stupid because I wasn't thinking about jobs. I was just thinking, okay, I don't mind. I had a psychology degree already. I thought, okay, I don't mind working as a human resource manager. But I love music, so I thought, okay, I'll waste a few years of my life doing my hobby. Then I go back for the rest of my life. I'll never do music. But who knew what happened? Like the journey, You
see, I was setting you up for such a beautiful kind of a moment where you are like, oh, you are so celebrated, and then now you just said, oh.
No, but so in a funny way, when I realized in my mind at age 25, 26 that I would never get. In fact, my teachers told me that I started way too late. They said, you never work as a musician, you started way too late. Once I got that in my head, it was actually a freeing experience. I suddenly could. It's like if you love movies, but you're studying to be a movie director or wanting to get a job as a movie director or an actor, there's a huge amount of pressure. But the moment they say, you have no talent, you're not going to be an actor or a movie director, you're like, whoa, great, I can watch all the movies I want. I can get involved in community theater. I can do whatever the hell I want because I'm not going to work as an actor, So that was a moment for me. Then after that, it was just a matter of drifting around, doing gigs and stuff like that without all the way thinking of my teacher saying, I'm not going to get a job. So somehow things happen. I don't know.
Well, you proved them all wrong. Is what I can say.
Diverse things. The thing about music is you never know where you'll end up. And if you're open-minded to it, it can take you to different places. And you can still enjoy your life, even though you'll never be a concert pianist, I don't know, that kind of stuff. Or you might be.
Hey,
right?
Don't write me off right now. I'm going to start practicing. Yeah. I'll start with the hand and do me fast.
If you're 50 and you'll never win the Boston Marathon, but you can still run. Your health will still get better. You will still enjoy it. You'll still get the endorphins kicking in. That's all going to happen.
So the takeaway is just do it today. So another endorsement, Nike. Great pleasure, man. Can everyone who is live right now just wave? And let's thank
really?
Dr. Tony. No, I mean they can comment and they can wave. Now you're gonna do a TikTok video right now or something. Hey, cheers, man, Dr. Tony. Take care.
Okay, man. Thanks.
Do take care.
Yeah, see you. Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
See you
soon. All right. I hope you enjoyed that session of interview with Dr. Tony Makarome, and that was Talk Kok Sing Song, an initiative of Open Score Project. And if you like what you just saw, do join us again on our regular channels. Follow us on social media at Open Score Project SG, and see you soon at Tony is requested to be in my live again. I'm not sure whether he wants to say anything. Let's see whether he clicked it wrongly or what. Conversations don't end, huh?
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot that I wasn't supposed to actually go off. I was supposed to just pretend to go off. Yeah.
Did you want to come back in to say something?
No. I thought you want me to stay and debrief after. No, right?
No. I thought
okay. Okay, see you. Yeah, take care. Bye. So I can just click off then.
Yeah, man. Take care, man.
This is.
Alright, that's the end though, and take care and everybody stay well during this extended circuit breaker, and see you all soon. Bye!